What's going on, guys? Justin, aka Straight Hacks, here with the draft analysis of our next league. We are in the SDA, the Soldo Association, in the Latios Division. This division is a upload division, meaning all of the coaches will be uploading their sides, and I will put their links in the description so you can check them out as well. First, here we're going over what we drafted for this season. And let's get into it, starting with the rules. The base rules, we're at least going over the bans here in terms of like the rules. Like baton pass is legal, but you can't pass stats or subs, pretty normal. RNG items, as they say, things like bright powder, lax incense, king's rock, razor fang are banned, but however quick claw is legal. Oko moves are all banned. There's sleep clause, meaning you cannot put more than one Pokemon to sleep at a time, unless you get that as a secondary effect of a move that's not 100% chance to sleep, something like a Dire Claw. And moves that raise evasion are banned, and abilities as well. So, with some of those bans we went over some of these bans, so I should say. Let's go over what we actually drafted and why. So, our first pick was Meowscarada, 16 of our 110 points. 76 HP, 110 attack, 70 defense, 81 special attack, 70 special defense, and 123 speed. We drafted this because number one, it's very fast, it can hit relatively hard. Good moves like Flower Trick, Sucker Punch, Knockoff, Triple Axle, can U-turn. The abilities Overgrow and Protean is the big one. Being able to switch our type based on the move that we pick is a great ability. And so, yeah, that was our first overall pick in Meowscarada. Our second round pick was Landorus Therian with Terra. 89 HP, 145 attack, 90 defense, 105 special attack, 80 special defense, 91 speed. As you can see, we have 3 Terra types, which will be allowed for us to use this season. A little bit different from the other Wi-Fi league we played in, where it was any Terra type, but I believe this one is not Terra Preview, meaning we won't know which of the 3 types our opponents choose to bring into our game. For us, Landorus has 2 offensive terrors, and we brought in a defensive terror as well. Our offensive terrors are ground and flying. Being able to hit really hard with an earthquake. If we decide to Terra ground, being able to get stabbed, Terra blast, Terra flying. If we decide to go flying, or the defensive Terra of water, just in case we wanted to run some kind of defensive set, we can do that. And obviously, his ability Intimidate, one of the best abilities in the game, being able to lower your opponent's attack, makes this a viable defensive wall if you really need it to be. We used, if you watched last season in the CPL, our other Wi-Fi league, we used the PAC. We used Terra Landorus Incarnate, and it didn't end up doing much really that season. So hopefully, Landorus Therian with Terra can do a lot better than we did with Landorus Incarnate in the PAC. But that being said, we'll move on to our next team member. Is Rotom Heat. 11 of our 110 points, 50 HP, 65 attack, 107 in defense, 105 special attack, 107 special defense, and 86 speed. With the Levitate ability, which obviously makes it immune to ground type moves, which being a electric fire type is very helpful, getting rid of the quad weakness that we have. This thing is very versatile. It can do, offensive and especially offensive, I should say. It could be defensive, especially defensive if we need to. It gets access to some good moves like Volt Switch, things like Pain Split, like Light Screen and Reflect. It can have Thunder Wave, Will-O-Wisp. It can do all sorts of things. And it just gives us a good pivot mod. It gives us a good defensive check to a lot of things. And I think it's going to be a really important part of our team and something that I'm comfortable with using and have used many times in the past. Next, our 4th round pick, you guys might recognize because we have it in the CPL as well. This is going to be Metagross, and I will make it shiny because its shiny is so good. best shiny in the game. With 80 HP, 135 attack, 130 defense, 95 special attack, 90 special defense, and 70 speed. It was 13 of our 110 points. Our Metagross hopefully can put in a lot of work. Um, we haven't used it a ton in the CPL. I mean, we've brought it in, I believe, 2 of the 3 games, maybe all 3. I can't remember if we brought it the first game, but definitely 2 of the 3 games. It hasn't done much yet, but hopefully it does more here than it has been there. It's not a Terra Captain in this because we opted to go for Landers instead. But even with no Terra, its typing is still very good. Its 2 abilities not so good in Clear Body and Light Metal. Clear Body's good enough. Like it's not an amazing ability, but it's not bad. Light Metal is only useful in like very niche situations and probably won't run it very much, if at all. But yeah, Landers has some good options. Things like it got Psychic Fangs, which can break screens. Iron Head, Meteor Mash, Bullet Punch, things like Heavy Slam. Um, also like Stealth Rocks and some other support moves, but for the most part, it would be a big hitter, physical attacker, maybe put up some rocks if it needs to, and that's going to be our Metagross. Our next pick was Manaphy, 14 of our 110 points. As you can see, its stats are 100 across the board: HP, attack, defense, special defense, and speed, because it's a mythical, which they have 100 across the board, meaning this thing can do anything. I mean, it can be defensive, it can be especially defensive, especially offensive. I mean, if I really wanted to, I guess it could be physically offensive. It doesn't really get the moves to take advantage of that, unfortunately, but it gets some great setup moves like Tail Glow, like Calm Mind, Take Heart, I believe it gets, and it is legal in this league. Its ability Hydration is basically nothing ability, because unless we have Rain up, which we don't really plan on having it up a lot. But otherwise, it can set up, it gets some good coverage, things like Energy Ball, stuff like that. Um, and it could be defensive if we really needed to. Things like in being able to pivot with Flip Turn. So just a very good mod all around. I haven't seen a lot of people use it in Gen 9, so I'm going to try to use it as best as I can. And with Take Heart being allowed, it can give it just that uh, extra setup option. Even though it does basically the same thing as Calm Mind, but being able to clear the status if it has it is also very useful. And so obviously, if I was going to do a Calm Mind set at that point, we're just be doing a Take Heart set instead, because it's the same move essentially, but better. So that's our Manaphy. Next up, we have Florges, who is 9 of our 110 points. It's got 78 HP, 65 attack, 68 defense, 112 special attack, 154 special defense, and 75 speed. Unfortunately, it has 2 abilities that really don't do anything for it in Flower Veil and Symbiosis. Both are doubles abilities, and we're playing singles, obviously, so unfortunately, that is not going to be doing anything for us. But as a special defensive wall, Florges is one of the best in the game with 154 SPDF. Um, a very good type in Fairy, and it's just here to pretty much soak up special hits and be able to pivot out with Baton Pass, hit things hard with Moonblast, get wishes off to the rest of the team, things like that. And that's going to be Florges' main role on the team here. Our next team member is Overquill, who is also 9 of our 110 points, 85 HP, 115 attack, 95 defense, 65 special attack, 65 special defense, 85 speed. Obviously, its best ability is Intimidate, and probably the one we will be running most often. Being able to lower your opponent's attack always can be useful. Poison Point, I guess, could have a use case here and there if we're trying to do like a Bar Barrage set, but I think Intimidate's almost always the play here. And Swift Swim would not be using this season unless we decide to manually set the rain with something like Manaphy, which I guess could catch some people off guard. But for the most part, I think we're going to be running Intimidate, maybe some Poison Point here and there. But Overquill, a mod that I have used in the past and have been fairly comfortable with, and it's a second Intimidate in our team, which gives us even more freedom in terms of being able to get an Intimidate off, we don't have to use Landers. You have Overquill as an option, vice versa. You don't have to use Overquill when you have Landers as an option. It just gives us more defensive freedom around the team. Our next Pokemon is going to be Tentacruel, is our main hazard removal, our rapid spinner. 80 HP, 70 attack, 65 defense, 80 special attack, 120 special defense, and 100 speed. Also another special tank, uh, and with ability like Liquid Ooze, could stop something from like clicking Giga Drain for free, could stop something from clicking like Drain Punch, uh, and its main role though for us will be rapid spinning, to make sure we don't keep hazards on our side of the field. Um, and it can be very useful in that. And obviously, like Overquill, previously another poison type, which means they are toxic spike absorbers because they're grounded poison types. So nobody can freely set up toxic spikes, and if we don't bring one, we have the other. So that will be our Tentacruel, and our next Pokemon is our second Terra Captain, Espeon. Espeon has the ability to terrestrialize into Psychic, Fairy, and Fire, and I have used Terra Espeon in the past, and I like it a lot, and it would be something that I hope can come to some games this season, and I think could put in some big work. 65 HP, 65 attack, 60 defense, 130 special attack, 95 special defense, and 110 speed. There's a couple mons I was considering as the second Terra Captain for this team. I ended up going with Espeon because it helps fill our speed gap we have between Meowscarada and our Manaphy and Tentacruel, which are both at 100 speed. And on top of that, it has a good ability in Magic Bounce, being able to bounce away status moves and hazards, or any status move, which includes things like hazards, things like a Thunder Wave, things like a Will-O-Wisp, anything like that. We can bounce back to the user, which is very nice. And big special attack, big speed, and there's the potential to be a setup sweeper for this team. Things like Calm Mind and stuff like that, and just have a second Terra Captain that primarily uses special attack and can use the Terra if Landorus doesn't really want to change its type in any game. And our last pick is Arboliva. 70 HP, 69 attack, 90 defense, 125 special attack, 109 special defense, 39 speed. Two decent abilities: Seed Sower, setting up the grassy terrain after we get hit, and Harvest, giving us a 50% chance to restore a berry if we have one. Arboliva, typically very good with Terra. We're not using Terra on it, at least right now. I don't plan to because I think Espeon is just a little bit better. So we're going to go with that. But being 5 points, I decided that it was worth getting at the last pick of our draft here. Um, it helps us in the fact that it's a normal type and it stops ghost types from just spamming moves. And also being able to set up grassy terrain to maybe heal some of our team members if we decide to do that, or just being another bulky mon that can hit very hard on the special side. That's going to be the team we're going with this season of the SDA, the Latios Division. I'll see you guys next week for week one, our week one battle, and I hope to see you guys there.